Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip,
And I'm CJ.
and it is Monday in the Rib. And boy, we got a ton of stuff to talk about. And by the way, CJ, hope everybody read your weekend flush. It was very good. You talked about a lot of things, and I like it. I like when you expand their vocabularies. You use the word perfunctory to describe and you used it twice actually, I believe.
Yeah.
Uh, so I did read it, but you made a lot of good points. And you know what? You know what really fascinated me about your weekend flush? You brought up something about how they explained away the previous superintendent. It's the same. See, these people use the same talking points always. This is what they said when they got Paul elected mayor. It didn't matter whether he had no qualifications. He'd been nothing more than a politically appointed slug his whole life, never took a test for a job, basically didn't really teach in a classroom, didn't even have a lot of experience in education, except the cushy jobs. What did they say? Oh, because of Jazel, we need stability. He's a nice, calming influence. Who will bring me? He's a nice guy. Doesn't matter. He doesn't know. He doesn't know his ass from a post hole about what he's going to do, and he's going to be a puppet. We don't care. And that's what they said about the previous superintendent. Now they're talking about this superintendent. Oh yeah, well she knows that. Well, I read your flush. I mean, Riley, massive qualifications, and what did they do? They do a hatchet job on anybody that supported somebody qualified. This is the problem with cities who never can get out of their own way. We elect politicians who don't care. There's no accountability. That entire everybody who voted for this appointment should be thrown out. I mean, look at the resume. That's kind of like the resume that the guy applied for the retirement board. The guy had been in a retirement system for 30 some years. I actually met him up at the conference at the Cape. Decent guy, tremendous, but they just ignored it because they got to put their political appointees, as you said, they got to put the people who will do what they're told in office, and that's why we never achieve anything. And all we do is blow money. And when you read that, it speaks, this is and then they gear up the propaganda network with everything, like Joseph Good, Joseph Goebbels was the propaganda minister for Adolf, and I don't know the female. I don't know how to say the female Joseph in German. Joseph, I don't know. Well, whatever. Good. She's the propaganda minister for Paul. She makes a big story about, oh, they had to do it. The state was going to do it. The state was going to do this. The state was going to do that. Well, the state put $800 million away for housing for people who don't fit in the categories that Paul doesn't understand, like public housing and workforce housing. And let's see if we put in for any of that money. The whole thing is propaganda. And before we get into it, I got to bring these 2 points up because this is how staggeringly incompetent these liberal losers are that run these cities. Okay, this is how staggeringly incompetent. I think I mentioned it on a previous show, but now I got some articles about it. This is from CBS News. Audit finds California spent. Ready? Sit down. If you're standing up, you might collapse. $24 billion in 5 years, and didn't track the outcomes. They have no idea where the money went or if it did any good. And then I go back to one from Bloomberg. Bloomberg, California spent $24 billion, but didn't consistently track outcomes. And in that 5 years, the homelessness in California has grown 30%. It's up to 181,000 people. That's their estimate. Nearly 200,000 homeless in the state of California. That comprises about, I don't know, 25% of the entire population of the nation. 24 billion. I saw a tape of the council, a meeting where an elected official asked the 4 or 5 people who were in charge of this fiasco, handling this money. Do you have any idea? Do you have any numbers? And by the way, the salaries of these people ranged from $400,000 to $600,000 a year. They asked them, do you have any idea? Do you have any numbers? You know what their answer was? Well, no. What do you mean, no? It's like 4 years. You don't have any idea where the money got spent, how many people you helped, what you did? No. Why not? Oh, well, I think we're having a problem with the program and the data and the database. And, 4 years later. And he said, well, you're coming back asking for more money. You just spent $24 billion and you have no idea where it is. But then again, who gives a shit? We've spent hundreds of billions of dollars in Ukraine. We have no idea where it is. And Biden's sending more money over there. And every time you say, well, why don't we find out where the other money went? They go, shut up. Just give them money. This is what happens. Our school system, we're going to have a superintendent. We had the opportunity to get a superintendent who'd been a superintendent who had metrics. I read your article. Who had metrics. Who had a plan. Something that's almost as horrific an expletive to use as forensic in this city.
That's why she didn't get the job.
Because she had a plan. You got a plan, get out of here. You can't have a plan. What are you, nuts? You actually want to improve the school system? You actually interviewed for superintendent of schools. You have a resume of being in charge and doing things like this. And you actually have a record of succeeding in improving. I believe you said that in your flush, CJ.
Yes, I did.
That she actually had a record of improving systems. But then again, what the hell do we have to hire her for? Why should we hire somebody for the retirement board that actually has worked in a retirement system for 30 years? You wonder why this city is effed up? You wonder? Well, look at the places this happens. It don't happen in Newton. All the poor cities run by a bunch of boob McNuts. They give all their friends jobs and there's no accountability. And the answer is always give us more money, create more positions, and ignore anything. And assassinate and attack anybody who tries to actually hold you accountable. I know the hatchet job started on Kevin Aguiar, and our resident crybaby was on talking about how he should be recalled. He was verbally abusive. It fascinates me that somebody like her even exists. She's an attorney. Apparently, she hasn't heard of the First Amendment. And she also hasn't heard, because she did the same thing with us, making all kinds of these frivolous accusations and threatening, because she didn't care. She actually, they even had WSAS say, I don't care if there's a Commonwealth Supreme Court decision, that they can say anything they want about politicians. I don't care. We're going to sue them anyway. That's why they didn't sue, because we would have countersued, and then we would have won, and then we would have countersued them and got a lot of money. But she's worried about being verbally abusive. The little snowflake is going to melt. Well, don't take the job. The Supreme Court, and you're a lawyer, you should actually kind of pay attention to a Supreme Court decision, especially one from your own state where you practice law, that clearly stated those were politicians yelling at each other, being unprofessional. But I don't care. I love the House of Commons in England. It was fine. Let them be verbally abusive to each other. They don't like it. Let them get out of politics, because the Supreme Court said you can say basically anything. Can't threaten to murder them or anything like that. But this is the whole problem. If you have a differing opinion, we have a dictatorship here. You have an opposing view. There's no debate on an opposing view. The first action is to attack them. Isn't it amazing, the double standard? They can have all the opinions they want as long as they agree with each other. And nobody ever has said we want to sue them, and they're being they can be verbally abusive to us. They can say it's okay to kill, chop Trump's head off, throw him in jail, that people are going to attack them and everything else. But the other people, they immediately go on the offensive. But then if you call them the wrong pronoun, they turn to a puddle of melted snow. You wonder what the problem is. Real simple, people. We keep telling you, it's them. But the real core issue is the voters. You let these people stay in. I can proudly say I never voted for any of these bozos. Ever. But we got 40,000 people that don't come out to vote. So let's hope they come out to vote in November and the following November. And let's hope these people are, and let's stand up for everybody's right to have an opinion. I don't think their opinion has any factual support, the people who voted for this superintendent. And they can try to spin it in any way we want, but the resumes just don't match. But the people who opposed it and tried to get somebody else, they should not be the subject of attacks by the propaganda arm of the Coogan administration, i.e., we suck at radio and the Herald News. Because it's pretty obvious now that they're like Radio Pravda. So with that, CJ, I'll turn it back to you. Talk about your flush, because it was a really good flush. And that superintendent thing just highlights that this city never fixes itself. They never learn from their mistakes. You had Malone and you mentioned Malone, but did we learn anything from Malone? No. We don't care. Just keep hiring people who are your pals, not people who have a resume. With that, CJ, back to you.
I think one of the things that is the culmination of the Coogan administration is the ineffectiveness of hiring and appointing. Because if you are qualified, or worse, if you're amply qualified for a job, for an appointment, for a position, you won't get it. Because under the Coogan administration, you have to be a doofus. You have to be an idiot. You have to be a moron. You have to kiss my ass. So you can be an absolute idiot, know absolutely nothing about the school department, kind of like Paul, and all of a sudden, you're the superintendent of schools. When you were there during the Malone incident, and you failed to take any action, you didn't do anything. And as you said, they always use the same excuses, whether it be on the city side or on the school side. We need to have a stable environment. We need some stability. So we're going to put this person in as the superintendent, because this person's been here for years. We're going to reward this person for their longevity. And we're going to make sure that this person gets in there so that they don't have to prove anything. So the school system doesn't have to improve because this person has been part of the school system for years. And guess what? Nothing. Nothing. No improvement in the school system. As a matter of fact, we're worse. And she was part of the system. And Paul was part of the system. The metrics do not bear out that we are doing good in the school system. Millions and millions and millions of dollars, over half of the city budget, is spent in the school department, and we get nothing in return. They think that a passing grade of 60 is okay. They believe that 53% graduation rate is okay. We need more than that. We need better than that. Why aren't we at 87% graduation? Why are we not at 99% graduation? Why do we have to dumb down our schools and make the passing grade 60? What's it going to be next year? 35? We've seen that done.
We certainly have. And you know, CJ, I'm glad you talked about that stability crap, because that's exactly what it is. It's crap.
Right.
It's a con. We need stability. No, we don't. We do not need stability. What we need is leadership, not stability. We need leadership. We need leadership. We do not need to make people comfortable because their pals are in charge. That's why in the military, there is no fraternization between officers and enlisted people, because those officers have to give those people orders that they may not like. And if they go drinking together and fraternize together, that person may be more inclined to disobey an order. They're being paid to lead. You hire leaders to turn around the school system. You don't hire stability. We've had stability for 50 years in our city. It's been totally stable, useless, non-productive. That's what we've had. We've had a school system that has been continually underperforming since Paul Coogan set foot in a school for the first time in his life. We are always in trouble. We had states threatening to take over the schools. We were under this. We're 336. No improvement. Why? Because everybody wants to hold hands and sing Kumbaya. I got to like everybody. They got to be part of my clique. They got to be part of my clan. This is not a job. It is not a work environment. This is a club. This is a club. You got to be part of the club. Well, that's not what it's supposed to be, people. We're paying millions and millions and millions of dollars like they did in San Francisco. You know, by the way, those imbeciles in California, when that San Francisco councilor asked them could they account for the money, and they said no, $24 billion, and they haven't done anything. They've increased the population of homeless. They still got their jobs. Nobody was fired. They're going to probably hire 8 or 9 more assistants, because that's what we do in this city. It's a job. It's a job. On a fire department, I told people that. And people go, oh, I know guys didn't like you. I don't give a shit. This is a work environment. You like somebody, well, you go out to a ball game with them when you're off duty. You go have a cookout with them. You go drinking with them. You go do whatever with them. You hang around with them. You don't like somebody? Tough shit. Because that's the real world, people, not the political tick world. That's the real world. You don't like somebody who used to work in a sewing shop next to you? They don't care. Keep sewing the sleeves on. Keep sewing the collars on. You don't like the guy digging a hole next to you? Shut up and swing the pick. In the real world, you got to work. You don't have to like everybody you work with. When you punch out, then you can go hang around with people you like. When you punch in, you're supposed to be doing a job. You're not supposed to be there in a social environment and covering up all the wrongdoings because they're your pals. Yes. We got here because this cancer has continued to grow. It's out of control in this city. It's out of control on a national level. And it's just unacceptable. There's not much we can do about it except tell everybody, because we do everything we can. CJ and I go there and we vote in every election. Not the primary, I'll qualify that. You look up my voting record, I don't vote in partisan primaries. I've been an independent my whole life. I had voted in some, both Republican and Democrat, when I had a particular candidate that I felt was a good candidate. But we vote in every election. You can't say, well, it's your fault. Well, it's not my fault. It's the people who don't vote. But I mean, pay attention. This propaganda they're spewing, like, oh yeah, he didn't want to displace these people. Oh yeah, oh no, it was the state. The state made me do it. Oh, I'm looking for stability. It's all horse manure. And with that, CJ, back to you.
Did you read Linda Mead's comment? I'll bring it back up for you. Coogan means can't operate our government, accomplishing nothing. That's the letters of his name. You have to admit it's funny. You have to admit it's funny. And back to Jeff's comments not being negative for this or that. It's about the pursue aren't doing their job. Yeah, well, we know that, Jeff. We know that. You know, we're at a point now where we've seen everything we can possibly see from the Coogan administration. Knock on wood. At least I think we have. I don't think there's any more negative, corrupt, potentially illegal activities he could do at this point. But hey, you never know. You never know. I mean, I just saw an article about a Crafton selectman who's been arrested and charged with, guess what? Taking bribes for marijuana licenses. He went to the Jaysville Career School of Politics. And Paul went to the School of Bullshit. He's an Irishman. And I hate to group all Irishmen in the same group. That's for sure. It just doesn't seem right to do that to Irishmen. But this is what's happening. I called it before. I'll call it again. The Coogan Long infection of the city of Fall River. They got to get their mitts into everything and get into controlling everything. And we are the ones that suffer. Pretty soon, only a matter of weeks, the preliminary tax bills will be coming out. Preliminary. Those aren't the final bills. Because remember, the final bills come out in January when they really sock it to us in the new year. So get those escrow accounts up if you still got a mortgage to make sure the bank can pay your taxes, because those taxes are going to go up. Just
Well,
like,
I don't know about you, CJ, but my preliminary bill wasn't even close to my final bill.
yeah,
They,
that's what
I
I'm
mean,
saying.
and there's another example of it's intentional because nobody can be that incompetent. Nobody can be that far off with their numbers
I agree.
because it's a con. It's like they're going to give you a little bit of the bad medicine first and let you get really angry, and then when they hit you with the other one, you're already fed up to your ears. You can't deal with it. But look at wait till you get your new water bill, your new every bill, and the thing is that they don't care. Like we said, this is the problem. It gets back to one thing: they don't care how they blow the money. They don't care because we just saw $24 billion in a city. San Francisco's a large city. That's a lot of money. $24 billion. That's a lot of money. A lot of money, and that could run Fall River for 10 years, for God's sakes, even with their misspending. But nobody knows what's going on with the money. Nobody cares what's going on with the money, and then he's going to ask for an override to get more money after this. This is batshit crazy. We're
And
in a
according to
batshit
Jeff, he wants to bring back the pay as you throw bags,
of
which
course,
we talked about.
but he said he
about that.
wouldn't. He said
Mary
he wouldn't.
Sahadi brought it up.
He said he wouldn't.
Yeah, I know, but Mary Sahadi brought it up as a way to meet the budgetary needs.
Look, they're going to bring back everything they can, and the last thing they'll ever do is control their spending. All they're going to do is take as much money away from you as possible as a citizen of Fall River. And believe me, you can some of you might say, well, I don't own a house. You're paying, pal, because you don't think they're going to pass that down to you. Of course, they're going to pass that down to you. They're going to pass the tax increases, the fact that they have to, pay more water bills. And the other problem is, and it's a statewide, nationwide problem. I saw a report on it the other day that in this country, regular people are not buying houses. I mean, they might be buying a single family occasionally with the interest rates and the inflation, but they're finding out now that it's the predatory developers that are buying all the multiple family houses. That's why the rents throughout the country are out of control. America has become affordable nationwide. And when the nation gets a cold, Fall River gets pneumonia. This is a problem that you can't, because you got these insane, useless people in Washington who all have become millionaires while they're up there with insider trading and other things. And all they do is spend money, trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars we don't have. And they good, shut up, you're stupid. Things are great. Even though they said inflation is outperforming wage increases. And they talk about their jobs. And they said 660,000 Americans lost their jobs in the last reporting period. And they reported they created 400 and some thousand jobs. And most of those were part-time or went to illegals. Isn't it amazing that we have homeless people who they can't find a place for? And they say, we can't find a place for them. We're going to send them to rehab, then they're going to be out on the street again. We have homeless vets that they vote against to have housing. But you never saw an illegal didn't have a house, did you? We had a few illegals in a 3-decade that they were sent back to Boston. We got illegals in the hotels around here. Every time I go to a supermarket or Home Depot, I see some of them. They don't have a problem getting a house. They don't have a problem getting health care either, even if they drive into a building, right? They drove into a building They took them right in for medical care. Nobody cares if they can't identify them. But then law enforcement says, well, we can't prosecute them because we can't identify them. Well, you can. Put the numbers across their chest, stand them up, fingerprint them, and call them John Doe, Jose Doe, Jose Doe, Juan Doe, Doe, whatever. That's horse shit. They commit a crime, put them in jail, and figure out who they are. And if not, ask them what country. They are all proud to announce what country they come from. I see the people who do cover the border walking up to these people. Where are you from? Mali. I'm not going to tell you where it is. You guys look it up. I'll give you a little homework. Look up where Mali is. Some of them you may know. But, from all over the world they're coming. China. I mean, we got military-age people from China. Isn't it amazing that in this country, the only people that are suffering are the damn citizens? Just like in this city. Who's suffering? The rich people? No. The developers? No. It's the regular working guy. And there's only one solution to that, people. Get their asses out of there. Back to you.
What I think is very interesting is, you're talking about housing. In front of the House and the Senate right now here in Massachusetts is a bill that is a multi-billion-dollar bill to support the construction of new housing. You'll notice I said new housing. I didn't say affordable housing. They're creating a program that, once again, like the HDIP program, benefits predatory developers. People like Alan Sylvia, Carol Fiola, Paul Schmidt, Mike Rogers support these tax packages that benefit predatory developers. None of them are building apartments for $700, $800 a month. They're building apartments for $2,000, $3,000 a month. They're getting rid of the people of Fall River, slow but sure. And you think they're doing a good job, so you keep voting them in. Well, they got a housing bill together. That's going to be great for us. It's not for you. It's for the predatory lenders, the people that give them $1,000 at a pop for campaign contributions. And when they don't have any competition in a run for office, you've given away that seat. You've given away that representation. And nobody can blame the politician for that. That is the people's fault. Because
you're right, you're right. And let me tell you something, though. Fall River is dramatically affected by what's going on, obviously, because we are, like I said, we get pneumonia and everybody. But this is a nationwide problem. This is something they've been trying to do for 50 years. The globalists want a world that only has rich and poor. Period. That's it. They don't want a middle class. They want to make the middle class extinct. Housing nationwide is becoming a problem. I mean, this is why you're seeing people who can move as much as they can. 1,100, I think the last stat was 1,100 a day out of Massachusetts. 1,100 a month, I'm sorry. 1,100 a month out of Massachusetts. Where are they going? They're going to the red states where there's no taxes and houses are a little cheaper and rents are a little cheaper because they have to. You look at these states like New York and Massachusetts and throughout the country. California, it's obscene. Nearly 200,000 homeless people. My God, 200,000. Think about that. That's more than 4 times the population of Fall River. I'm telling you, it's crazy. But and they're not, they, like you said, they're making an $800 million bill. But they did talk about some affordable housing for people who are like stuck in the middle, that who are in the median income of their community, not their area, like workforce housing. But let's see how effective that program is. Because listen, they can create all the programs they want. They can do all the studies they want. Nothing ever changes because they're incompetent boobs who really don't want to do anything anyway. Just look at San Francisco. When you got $24 billion in one city, to get the homeless off the street, you think they could have got maybe 300 or 400 off the street? With $24 billion, they could have got 100 people they could have bought them a mansion in Beverly Hills and given them the house. But they lost the money. Nobody knows where it went. But what they do know, it didn't do any good. And look, this is what we got in the city of Fall River. They don't want to fix anything. They proved by the superintendent's appointment they do not want to fix the underperforming school. They just want to keep the status quo. Shut up, pay more taxes, pay more water, pay more excise tax, give us a 2.5 override or we'll take more away from you. Well, my philosophy is now, take it away. Screw it. What good is it? You want to threaten to cut in the fire department? Go ahead. Let the house burns down. I'm going to collect the insurance. I'll have enough. I'll move out of the state then. Then I'll have a good excuse to move out of the state. I'll be able to realize some of the money. I don't have a large mortgage on this house. I got a lot of insurance on it because they make you pay its market value, supposedly. So I got a lot more house insurance than I got mortgage. So if this place burns to the ground, I got enough money to bail. I mean, this is ridiculous. All they want you to do is just lose it. Pay every single cent that you got. When you're 90 years old, you're going to have to go out and get a part-time job as a greeter at Walmart so you can buy groceries. Because they just keep taking. And they never do anything to earn it. They don't fix anything. Everybody gets more money, but nothing gets fixed. Crime rates, streets, school systems, you name it. It's up to you to rebel. When Coogan says you don't give me the 2.5, I'm laying off public safety, you should storm the council meetings. Tell them no. Get rid of half your law department. Get rid of 5 out of your 6 assistant superintendents of schools. Get rid of the 400 jobs you created since you've been mayor. Then after you do all that, come talk to me about getting rid of public safety. So, it's gotten to the point now, I've never seen anything like this administration. It took him 3 terms. It only took Biden 3 years to destroy the earth and the entire world and this country. I would have said it was impossible to do, but he did it. 2 wars, 3rd World War on the horizon, no borders, trillions and trillions of dollars in debt. Coogan's doing the same thing to Fall River, and he'll walk away, and he'll have a vapor trail coming out of his ass when he's no longer mayor. He's not living on Williamson Street anymore. Bobby Townhouse will be up for sale. He'll be gone to parts unknown.
I'm surprised it's not up for sale now. I'm surprised it's not up for sale now. That's the sad part about it. You mentioned crime. Well, we've had 2 reports of alleged shootings on Plymouth Avenue over the weekend. But we're safe. Don't worry about it. I mean, don't worry about it. And I said in the flush, it's no longer even if there's an actual shooting going on. It's now the report of a shooting going on. People hear a pop. All of a sudden, it's a shot fired. That does not indicate a safe city. That does not indicate that people feel safe in the city. That shows people are feeling a little bit squeamish about living in Fall River. But at this point, they have no choice. And with the rents going the way they are, they still may have no choice. So, with that, I want to thank you all for watching. Have a great day today. It's supposed to be a beautiful day. And remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. We'll see you on Wednesday. Have a great day.